Good afternoon and happy Sunday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, I told you it was so weird. Yesterday I was like, oh, yesterday felt like Sunday because we just got all of our like grocery stuff and like all of our, you know, shopping and things like that all done like early in the morning yesterday, and like I had the whole rest of the day to myself, which like normally on like Saturdays like I don't really have like anything else like a whole ton of time to like do extra things. And then on top of that too, normally we watch like live PD and stuff like that on like Friday and Saturday. We watched it on Friday night, but then my mom got sick yesterday and Matthew was gone at work, and Jack was, I don't know, upstairs playing something, so I didn't really end up going out into the living room. I think my dad was watching it, but honestly he was out there like all day yesterday because he had to take like a coaching test for football and stuff like that, and I think he still maybe has to finish part of it, or finished part of it this morning or something like that. And so he was like sitting out there, but then I came out in the living room at one point and he fell asleep, so I was like, okay. So I was gonna go out there for a little bit, but then decided not to. So like I didn't stay up really late last night, but like I had like the whole like, you know, normally from, I think it starts like 8 o'clock until like 11 or something like that, so normally I'm in my room for like, or I'm out in the living room like watching that. And so yesterday I didn't, so it felt like I had even more hours in the day, which normally is how I feel like on Sunday, like, you know, I don't have anything going on in the afternoon or whatever. So I woke up this morning. I actually woke up kind of late, which I was also frustrated about. And here's the most, okay guys, I know I told you guys I had a really weird dream the other night. I had a super insanely bizarre dream last night, and it was kind of the same thing. I woke up at like 8 o'clock I think, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get up, but I was like, I'm gonna fall back asleep for like maybe just like 5 or 10 more minutes so that I can like finish this dream that I was having, because it was so weird. Which, like I told you guys, normally when you fall back asleep you don't finish the dream you were already having. And so I ended up, my dream was that our house was involved in some type of like either a volcano or an earthquake, or it was some type of mudslide or something. And like all of the like, you know how like things though are like physics wise and like other kind of stuff just doesn't make sense in your brain. Like your brain does not actually, it's not at all realistic. So it was just this like really weird thing that was happening or whatever. And I think it was like raining or something like that, and it was like really bad. And then I think there was like I said, like a mudslide or something, or part of a volcano that turned into a mudslide, or you know, like something like that. So I'm having this dream, and like the backyard, the fence gets ruined, and I was like all upset. I was like, we just got this new fence and it's ruined, and like there's a mudslide, you know, all this stuff. And then we had like our friends from like our old church were over too. It was like really weird, and like we haven't seen these people in like a really long time, so like I don't know why I randomly like was having like a dream about them, which is also really weird though too, because I had a dream that they were still like, they were like our age, which they are now, but they were still like little kids, like from when like we used to like hang out and stuff like that when we were little, which was just so bizarre. And so they were over at our house for whatever reason, and but like I was babysitting for them, but like I said, they were like still our age, so I don't know why, or like what was going on. So anyways, yeah, they're over at our house, and like we just got back from going grocery shopping or something like that, and then all of a sudden, so this like mudslide happens, and they're over at our house and stuff like that, and we're like, oh quick, like get into the basement because it's gonna be safer in the basement. I don't know why, because I think in a mudslide you're not supposed to go into a basement. So not even in our basement, we have a crawl space. So I'm like, okay, let's go in there. So we go in there, and then like we came back out, and like everything's still fine and stuff like that. And then I'm looking out our front window, and there's this huge like hill like out like way behind like neighbors' houses and stuff like that. And all of a sudden that like thing like turns into like a mudslide too or something like that, and all the mud just comes like rushing up to our house. But it never comes actually like in through our house, but our whole neighborhood looks different because all these houses got pushed around and stuff like that, but our house is still fine, right? And all of a sudden there's dinosaurs, like then it just does a complete 180, and we turn into like the Jurassic period or something like that. But our house and like everything, like this like mudslide awakened all these dinosaurs that came back to like life, and it turned into our like Jurassic Park kind of thing. Like I say guys, it was so bizarre, and I was like, I have to finish this dream, I have to know what happens, because that was pretty much where I woke up, was when the dinosaurs started re-roaming the earth. So I like give myself some credit because I was really into that dream and really wanted to finish it. So that's why I ended up falling back asleep this morning. And then I didn't get up until like 10 or something like that. So that kind of sucked. So I didn't have a lot of time in the morning. Then in the afternoon, Matthew, like I got like some stuff done in the morning and a little bit, and you know, like I said, didn't have too much time. But then I was stuck out in the living room all day today, and at first we were watching the Cubs game maybe or something like that. We watched like the end of the Cubs game maybe, or the beginning of the Cubs game or something. And then we switched, and we were actually, because the Cubs and the Brewers and like the Cardinals kind of battling for first place right now, and the Cubs were like a half a game ahead of St. Louis in first place, and so they beat Milwaukee, which put them I think a game ahead then. And then we were watching the Cardinals game because if they lost today, put the Cubs a game and a half ahead. So I was like, let's switch, and like we were trying to find it, we couldn't find it, so we were like flipping through all the channels and stuff like that. And they had it on like the MLB like just like MLB channel or whatever it is, and like part of it was on there, and so like it was like switching back and forth between like that and like a panel, like, you know, where they're talking and stuff like that. And then they were switching to like different games and stuff like that and showing bits and pieces, and I was like, come on, like they were playing the A's, I think. It was like, come on A's, let's go, to keep like the Cubs, you know, with a good lead and everything like that. So yeah, they ended up losing, so the Cubs are officially a game and a half ahead. But so we're flipping through all the channels today, and we switched then, and we ended up on, we were watching Spider-Man Homecoming. So we watched almost the whole thing of that, like from almost start to finish. And then we ended up switching, and after that was over, then that was probably like later in the afternoon, but then we ended up getting dinner tonight, and then we ended up watching Sweet Home Alabama, which, guys, that was the first like chick flick movie I'd ever seen. Like the first one I think my parents ever really like let me watch, like when I was little. And that movie, like, I just remember we had it on DVD. I remember watching it so many times on repeat, like it was ridiculous. Like I literally had all of the lines memorized to that movie. Like it was just like the first like romantic comedy chick flick kind of movie that I had like ever seen, and the one that we had on DVD that like my parents would let me watch. And I was probably like maybe about like 10 years old or something like that, you know, and like watching it, and like I don't know, it was just like, you know, that first like just like one of those like first movies, and you feel like such a grown-up like when you're watching like a PG-13 movie and you're not actually like 13 years old yet, you know. So like I'm watching it, and like it was just one of my like favorite movies. But I realized rewatching it today, like I haven't seen it in so long because we had it on DVD. I don't know where on earth it ended up, and like I haven't really seen it ever since. And so rewatching it today, I realized there was so much in that movie I did not realize when I was like little watching it, and like so much younger. Like the last time I watched it was probably had to have been like maybe when I was in middle school, like at most. And so like yeah, it was just so weird to like watch it and not like, I don't know, like just you know, like I said, having like a movie like that you almost memorize, that you watched so much, and then rewatching it and being like, I didn't understand what that meant back then, or like I didn't understand like, you know, what like the point of it was. Like I got the gist of the movie, and like it was a cute and romantic, and it was kind of funny too, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But like some of the stuff was just like way over my head when I was that little, and so it was like fun to rewatch it again. It was funny though, because no lie guys, I was in the kitchen I think like a few weeks ago, and I was doing something, and my mom was in the living room, and I heard her like flipping channels and like switching the TV and stuff like that, and I heard them saying like something on there, and I was like, that movie, I was like, I know that movie, what is that movie? And I was like, is that Sweet Home Alabama? So I came in there, my mom's like, yeah, it was. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I hadn't seen it in so long, but that it was almost the end, so I was like, I'm not gonna start watching it now. But it, like I said, I had it memorized like so much, and like watched it so many times, that even just like hearing like one little like line out of the movie, and I knew exactly which movie she was watching. It's funny too, because I had a few movies like that too, like even in middle school there's a couple movies that I watched a lot, like when I was like like I used to like just put, because we didn't have like cable in our rooms and stuff like that, so like when I was in middle school or like I think maybe freshman in high school and stuff like that, I'd watch like DVDs before I'd fall asleep and stuff like that. And so I had a few DVDs that I just watched like on repeat, because my TV, like my little, you know, tube TV that I had a DVD player like in it, and so I just watched like a bunch of like different movies that we had on like I said, on repeat and stuff like that. 50 First Dates was one of them. Fun with Dick and Jane, we had that one on DVD. I used to watch, we had like all of the Everybody Loves Raymond, I think the first and second season or something like that. And like, so those were the kind of things that I just literally would watch like every single night, you know, before I'd go to bed or whatever. And so now we have cable, and so I normally wind up putting something on, but like like I'd always wind up watching those like before I'd fall asleep. And but I hadn't seen that movie in like so long. And it was funny too, because I think honestly maybe it was yesterday night or 2 nights, Friday night maybe, Fun with Dick and Jane was on TV, and I had switched to it and was watching it, but I fell asleep like at the beginning of it, so I didn't even really get to see it. But it was the same thing too, I started watching it and was like, I didn't realize this was the beginning plot of the story or anything like that, because again, I think I was a little too like young, like, you know, again, maybe middle school, elementary school or something like that, that some of the stuff just went right over my head, or I didn't really like grasp the concept or remember it really well. And so yeah, but then rewatching it, like, it brings back all those like memories, and you figure things out a little bit more, or like you know things now that you didn't know then. Like there was like, I don't remember what it was. It was something about his job too, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize like that's what that was, or you know, something like that. And I'm like, now I know, because it was, you know, something that I learned about later or whatever. So yeah, but I was watching those. So I had a movie day today, guys, and now it brings me to I need to get in the shower quick and get to bed because it's late, and I stayed up a little too late watching movies. So, and I have to get up early too tomorrow so that I can babysit. So yeah, guys, I will see you guys though all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.